Hey, so I thought I'd talk today about what to do when people are mean to you or not nice to you. I wrote in one of my blogs a while ago that it's quite impossible to go through life without there being people that are mean to you and people that, aren't nice to you. If you think about people that everybody likes, they're quite bland and quite, they're just nice to everyone. They're a bit of a doormat, like they self-sacrifice their own needs all the time. They don't disagree with anybody. They kind of just go along with what anybody else wants to do. And why would you want to be a person like that? Like, that's not the real you. So, if you want to be like that, then everyone probably will like you, but you won't be being your real self. So in order to be your real self, you've got to kind of accept that there's going to be people that don't like you and don't take to you and are quite mean to you. It's interesting. I get comments on my blog and videos that I do and things, and some of them are really nasty, and I just kind of think, have you got nothing else going on in your life that takes up your time, that you have to watch or read things from me and then comment negatively about them? I just find it really bizarre. Like, people that are mean to others, why do they do it? Like, what are they kind of gaining from that? And that's kind of what made me think about this conversation. You only have to go on the internet these days and read comments, and you can just see like how nasty some people are about things. So why is that? Why are people mean? I think when you're younger and you first experience people being mean to you, you almost internalise that and you think, firstly, why? Why are they like that? Why are they doing that? Like, what have I done to make it okay for them to be that horrible towards me? And if you think about like being back at school when people are mean, like, there's never really a good reason for them being mean. They just are mean. Like, that's just the way that they are. Like, I remember like at school, high school, there's this girl and she was always horrible to me, always like really mean, but for like literally no reason, like that I knew of. Obviously I'm sure she had a reason. And she'd say like really mean things. Like, I remember one time they'd gone swimming and they hadn't invited me swimming. And one of them made the comment of the reason they didn't invite me swimming because they didn't want to see me in a swimming costume. And I was like, what? Like, that's bizarre. And thankfully, like, it didn't give me any body issues or anything, but it could have done. Like, talk like that, like shaming people like that is really horrible. And it's just like, why are they like that? And I remember being at school actually that if any of the girls hadn't shaved their legs, like, they'd get called like hairy and stuff, like hairy monster and stuff like that. And it's just horrid, isn't it? Like, and obviously there's a lot of things that went on that I don't remember anymore, but that obviously happened and is part of kind of growing up, like people calling you things for ridiculous things like that you can't control or do anything about, because kids are mean, but adults are too. It's like they've never really kind of grown up. Like, people still like are negative towards people, still try and bring them down, and it kind of got me thinking, like, why is that? Because it isn't because it's valid most of the time. Like, a lot of people that are horrible about me, that I hear about from other people, they haven't got a valid reason for it. Like, there's nothing that I've done that's meant that I deserve to be treated like that, like, at all. Obviously I have self-worth, so I'm okay with that, but I feel for these people that when someone's mean to them, that they think it's them, that they think they've done something to deserve it, because you haven't. Like, if that is you, you haven't done anything. Like, anybody that is mean to somebody else, that is not your problem, that is their problem. Like, who goes out of their way to be mean to people? You just don't do it if you are a nice person. I think what's kind of interesting is that if you are a good person, you are a nice person, and you think that other people should be treated as well as what you expect to be treated, that you just wouldn't do that to somebody else. You can't understand why they would do it to you. Like, I always am quite confused by people who are quite petty and revengeful, because that's not an instinct that runs through me when I'm upset. Like when I'm upset, I'm hurt, and I might be a bit pissed off, but I would never try and get back at a person and think about ways to get back at a person. Like that's not something that usually happens to me. I'm not saying it's never happened, but it doesn't usually happen. So for an adult to be functioning in a way that means that they want to bring another person down, that's very worrying to me. That kind of exists. Like I think people get kicks out of bringing people down. It makes them feel better. I think our automatic interpretation of that is that they must be a horrible person, they must be an evil person, and I think it's a lot more complicated than that. I don't think anybody that is horrible to other people is doing it because there's not a reason deep down for it. There's something that's happened to that person that's meant that that's how they respond and that's how they behave. You know, maybe it's a warped interpretation of their environment or something that means that for example, say someone's had a difficult upbringing or a difficult kind of interaction with peers, or something's happened to them that means that they perceive threat in their environment, and that's kind of a natural reaction for them, then they're going to take unintended behaviour from another person as a slight, and then react to that with defence and aggression, and then probably be mean to somebody. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a horrible person, it's just that they're misinterpreting information and then coming back at it. And I also think, like, no happy person ever goes and is mean to somebody else. Like, it's not something that you even think about. Like, if you're a happy person and you like yourself, you don't think about other people in a negative way. Like, you just don't. You're just happy for people. You hope that everyone's as good as what you're feeling and about yourself and stuff. Like, you don't kind of want other people to be unhappy, like, because if someone's unhappy, that makes you unhappy, so you want everyone to be happy. So no happy person is ever mean to another person unless it's in an attempt to be cruel to be kind. Like, that is possible to do that if you know that something's better for someone. But a lot of the time, the unhappy people, so I've got a little list of some to read that I was like looking at, like, what am I on next, and then I was like, and I was like, oh, but's not the right word, but anyway, detour, tangent. What I was going to say is, I've kind of experienced people being mean to me, and kind of like not really understood it at the time. Like, I always, whenever someone's really mean to me, I always kind of just disengage and kind of create a distance with that person, because I might have misinterpreted it. There might not be anything there, so I kind of just give it a bit of space and think, you know, if there isn't anything there, then, you know, this will be fine. If there is something there, then it won't be. And if I've not created that situation, then I am not going to address that, and I'm not going to communicate with that person, go, what's going on. I'm going to leave it until that person talks to me, because it's their issue. Like, there's no issue on my end. If there was an issue on my end, I would say something about it. I would be like, look, this is the situation, or whatever. Unless that person's done something. So, and that's where it's different. So, like, if someone's done something to you, and it's mean, it kind of makes you think, like, do I want this person in my life? Do I want that meanness to happen again? And is there anything about that person that outweighs that meanness so that I would keep them in my life? If the scales are quite balanced, then they're gone. Like, you're not going to have them in, like, I personally wouldn't have them in my life. I wouldn't have negative people in my life like that, because I haven't got time for it. Like, I haven't got time for people that still behave like they're at school, that have no communication skills, that can't work things out as an adult. Like, there's a lot of people that get upset over things that can't communicate, and their way of dealing with that is to bitch about it with other people, or to be mean to that person. So I'll give you an example. I was going to go on holiday with somebody, and I'd said that I couldn't share a room with this person and somebody else, because I wouldn't be able to sleep, so I'd rather be in my own room. Which to me is a normal kind of request. Like, at any time I've been on holiday with other friends, we'd have separate rooms. You know, if you've got enough money to do that, that's generally what you do. Like, you wouldn't share with someone unless you can afford to have a room on your own, which is obviously the case for this person. So for me, I've never like slept next to somebody regularly for, you know, quite a few years now. So sleeping next to someone's quite a difficult thing for me because I can't sleep because I can hear like breathing and snoring and stuff like that, and I'm quite a light sleeper, and you know, I get insomnia sometimes because of my menstrual cycle and stuff, so it's difficult for me to share with people. And when I'm tired and I haven't slept, I don't enjoy myself. So I wanted, if I was going on holiday, to be able to sleep and to be able to enjoy myself. But this person, which I found out months later because this person never came to me to have this conversation with me, this person was kind of like going mad and going off on one at my friends, and saying things, and literally nobody told me anything. Nobody mentioned anything to me or anything, and I was just kind of like, when I found out months later, I was like, oh, this explains why she was being weird with me, why she was being quite mean to me, if this is the thing. And I just thought to myself, that's something very minor. Like, why go crazy about that? Why not just have that conversation with me if that has upset you, that's just complete drama. Because that's just a non-important issue, really, isn't it? That you should have had that conversation with me. But this person didn't. They chose to be a child about it and not kind of address that. But the reason for that, and for why people are generally mean like that, is because they don't like themselves. They're not happy with themselves. Their life is miserable. Like, you know, they've got body issues, they don't like the way they look, they look in the mirror and they hate themselves, they don't like the way they interact with people, they don't like their jobs, they don't like their life as it is, and they just complain about it instead of doing something about it. If I'm in a situation and I don't like something, I change it, I don't moan about it. And I think people like that get stuck and they get bitter and they get resentful, and then they take it out and project it onto other people. Now sometimes that is fine. Like, I think once you become aware that people do that, you can put boundaries in place and manage that, and not take it personally. So for example, I had a friend who made some really negative comment about something that I put on my Instagram story. It was something about when I was on Bumble or Tinder or something, and I was talking to quite a lot of people, matched with loads of people, and I'd been talking to them all. Because, you know, it's a numbers game, you talk to 20 people, you go on a date with one, like, that's just how it works. But this person had said something really nasty about it, but that person was drunk, so, you know, that automatically activates emotional feelings which are not rational, so they were being irrational. And this person was in a relationship where they were very unhappy with the relationship, and so she obviously was insecure about the fact that I was going out dating seemingly loads of people and she was stuck in a relationship that she hated. And so that interpretation of that allowed me to kind of understand, yes, she was nasty, but it came from a place of insecurity and unhappiness, and actually that I can forgive. I can forgive that, I can understand that, I can understand why that was the way it was, and that the intention there was not for her to be horrible to me and bring me down. It was a temporary release from her own pain, and I just happened to be the collateral damage in it. And I think sometimes that's what we've got to remember about people that are mean to us. It's not always about us, it's usually about them. And you have to kind of understand that if you're happy, then take the hit. Like, be compassionate and loving to that person and think, do you know what? Yeah, they've upset me, they've hurt me, whatever. But that's life, isn't it? Like, people do things from unhappy places, and if you respond to them in a horrible way, that's going to make that person worse. Because, for example, the girl about the hotel room thing, when she first started being funny with me and was making really nasty comments to me, like little snide little snippets that other people didn't recognise until they were aimed at them, I distanced myself from her and blocked her from my social media and stuff, and was kind of like, I don't want to interact with her, she's not a nice person. But that perhaps wasn't the right way to deal with her, because that just made her worse. That made her then on a vendetta to be a bitch to me. And so actually it didn't help her and it didn't help me, because she continued to be horrible in my absence, because I just completely distanced myself from her. But then, having said that, she's not in my life anymore and I'll never see her again, so I'm not really that bothered. But at the same time, like, she'll continue to be like that because she doesn't have anyone that will sit her down and go, look, the way you're behaving right now is not okay, and that you should not be talking to me like that because that's an issue. Like, if I'd have actually sat her down and said that, then that might have improved her a little bit, but I wasn't in the place in my life to be strong enough to do that. And I think that's the problem. Like, people have their own crap going on so that they can't, like, you know, tell people why they're being mean and why it's not okay. Like, you almost feel like it's not my job to do that, but then maybe it is. Like, maybe we should do that, really, because then people would understand. And I think the thing that makes people mean to each other is lack of communication. Like, a lot of people misinterpret people's behaviour. I think that they're these horrible people because of how they're behaving, and in actuality they're not. They're nice people, they're just dealing with stuff, or they've misinterpreted something or whatever. Or they're in a really horrible, you know, not nice place where they do take it out on other people. So I think when people are mean to you, it's telling you something about them. It's telling you that they kind of need some love from you, and they kind of need some guidance of how to be a better person because no nice, happy person goes around being mean to people. So definitely don't get down on it and take it out on yourself because it's not you, trust me. It's totally on them.